Today's message is about the F word, forgive. Now, I know that's what you all thought when I said the F word. And I want you to remember that sometimes the first step in forgiveness is understanding that the other person is a jerk. Okay, now let's get in the pulpit. So with the energy of laughter in our bodies, I invite us to just turn within as we stretch up, relax the shoulders and jaw, and just feel that sensation of joy and laughter. Let it permeate every cell and atom of our bodies, our hearts, our souls, our minds. As we celebrate this opportunity to come together. To remember on a much deeper level that to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover the prisoner was you. So I give thanks that each and every one of us sets ourselves free, that we are no longer anyone's prisoner, that through forgiveness, we take back our power, we take back our lives, and we open the doors to the abundant prosperity that is our birthright. And I give thanks for the wisdom to do this, to do it willingly, joyfully, completely. And so it is. Amen. Unity Santa Fe is a welcoming interspiritual community that celebrates the oneness and divinity of all creation. Our mission is to raise consciousness, transform lives, heal the planet, one person at a time, beginning with me, beginning with you. And our Unity Santa Fe core values are God first, awareness, joy, love, appreciation, and humble surrender. Michael Beckwith says, the greatest ability on the planet is availability, making ourselves available to the truth with a capital T that sets us free. So in order for you and me to be available to the truth, we must have room for truth in our minds and hearts. So my heart's desire is for today's message to support you in creating space in your mind and heart, making yourself available to the truth that sets you free. So the human condition is that being full of lies, of resentment, anger, and victimhood that burden, restrict, and imprison you. That's the human condition. Being full of these lies that Michael Beckwith says become our personal law. And the spiritual solution is being empty of these lies and available to the truth that raises your consciousness and sets you free. So what is availability in the context of today's message? Availability is about being available. To be available, we have to be an empty vessel. We have to be free of any blocks to prosperity, which Michael Beckwith defines prosperity as a feeling tone of all needs met. So anything that would block that feeling tone, we have to release and let go so that we are available. We are an empty vessel. And availability is about being in the flow of the energy field of unlimited substance that is everywhere present, that can never be depleted or exhausted. Availability is about raising our human consciousness to consciousness with a capital C, to the truth with a capital T that sets you free. So what are these blocks to prosperity? Well, our availability can be blocked, not by the universe, not by any person or situation. Our availability can be blocked when stuff comes up and we do not allow it to pass through us. Our availability is blocked when stuff comes up and we set up camp or build a condo in it. So what's the stuff that blocks our prosperity? Well, Michael Beckwith calls it the content and reminds us that we are not the content. We are awareness with a capital A. So our job is to be aware of and examine the content of our stuff, remembering we are not the stuff and allowing it to pass through. In Unity, we like to say to give that person or give that situation free passage through your mind. Give them free passage through your mind. Don't let them stop. Don't let them stay there. Don't let them take up space in your mind. And part of the content, the stuff that Beckwith refers to, is what he calls our personal laws. And those laws are lies that we tell ourselves. And I think those lies are like a cancerous cell that replicates itself over and over again and continuously reestablishes itself so that we cannot see the truth. And we experience the content as the truth and as our life. The lies about lack, limitation, scarcity, and not enoughness have to be transcended so that we live in and as a state of expanded awareness of what Michael Beckwith calls I am and I have. That's a state of expanded awareness. I am and I have. I am and I have. Feel those words. I am and I have. So he points out that when you live in the lie of victimhood and entitlement, thinking that someone or something owes you something, he says you are actually invoking or evoking the law of lack and creating lack in your life. You're holding yourself hostage by unforgiveness, believing you're never going to be happy until somebody gives it to you or makes good on their promises or apologizes for what they said or did. Now, I'm sure you would agree with me that it would be wonderful if people apologized and made living amends, and living amends means they don't do it again. But do you really want to let them be in control of your happiness and prosperity? I doubt it. Rather, take control of your own life and prosperity. Operate from the I am and I have consciousness of all needs met, which allows the congestion. That's what the Fillmores and some of the early New Thought founders and teachers they called it congestion. And it was that stuff that clogs up. We think of a cold and we get congested. Well, these thoughts also congest the whole life energy in our body. And so when we have a consciousness of I am and I have, it dissolves that stuff into the nothingness from which it came. And as we do this, we can feel the openness that sets us free to receive our good. And that good is God's great pleasure to give us. So a lot of times we're unwilling to let go of the stuff. We're unwilling to forgive someone because we feel the resentment and animosity is justified because we have facts. Somebody actually did something to me. Somebody actually said something about me. I read a wonderful quote yesterday. It said, "I never knew how strong I was until I had to forgive someone who wasn't sorry and accept an apology I never received." Wow. I never knew how strong I was until I had to forgive someone who wasn't sorry and accept an apology I never received. Beckwith points out that on the metaphysical level, it doesn't matter if you're justified. It doesn't matter how many facts you have. What matters is that you are one with the unlimited love, wisdom, and life that is the foundation of all that is. So Michael Beckwith says you must clear the channels so that the everything or the invisible that brings everything into manifestation can have its way with you. That doesn't mean that we take a spiritual bypass and deny what has happened or what's happening. It doesn't mean we condone misbehavior. It doesn't mean we absolve people of responsibility for their actions. No, we acknowledge what is on the relative plane, and we identify our thoughts and feelings about it and have our feelings, and then we raise our consciousness to the absolute plane of truth and set ourselves free. Now, also be aware that unforgiveness might be unconscious. You may not be consciously aware of feeling animosity, resentment, and unforgiveness, but it may be stored in the cells and atoms of your body, mind, and heart. And it must be cleared in order for the universe to, as Malachi says, open up the windows of heaven, that's unlimited substance, and pour you out a blessing, and I'll add, beyond your wildest dreams. As I prepared for today's message, I began seeing each act of forgiveness as a sandbag being tossed from a balloon gondola in order for the balloon to rise. If any of you have ever been on a hot air balloon ride, you know that they tether down the balloon with sandbags. And then when it's time for liftoff, they start throwing out the sandbags, okay, in order for the balloon to rise. And so I began hearing each burner blast. So again, if you've been on a balloon ride, when they have to keep the air heated in the envelope, which we call the balloon, and they do that by hitting the burner and heating the air. And it's like a real loud blast of the burner. And when they heat the air, to me, I began hearing that as more acts of forgiveness. So that each sandbag toss, when we're first beginning to rise, and then each blast of the burner to keep us above, rising above the situation, I see those as acts of forgiveness that really allow me and you to rise above human race consciousness to the absolute Christ consciousness. So free of the sandbags, warm with the heat of love, I feel myself rise above the material plane where there is peace and tranquility as I effortlessly go with and in the flow of grace. And one more thing about hot air ballooning. I was so surprised the first time I went up in a hot air balloon because I thought the wind would be blowing through my hair. But no, when you're in a hot air balloon, you're going with the current, with the air. So it's absolute stillness, absolute quiet, except for the blast of the burner when you have to heat the air. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience of peace and stillness and quiet. So how do we do this? We're going to spend the majority of our time in today's message in one of Michael Beckwith's, an excerpt from one of his meditations. But how do we do this? How do we forgive? How do we let go? Well, we know we're going to do it first and foremost in prayer and meditation, whether we're sitting formally on our cushion or whether we're going through our day and having what unified mindfulness calls micro hits, anything of 10 seconds or more throughout the day. In this prayer and meditation, even if it's those micro hits or whether it's for an extended period of time, we're establishing ourselves in the flow of unlimited prosperity that is our divine birthright. It is our inheritance. And so we want to release and clear any of this stuff that would block us being in the flow, that would cause congestion in our hearts or our minds. And Beckwith suggests before you go to sleep every night, don't go to sleep without clearing. Don't allow this stuff to bury itself in your self-conscious. We have to wipe the slate clean every night. I have found through mindfulness that I have become attuned to the sensations in my body. So I invite you to use mindfulness, being mindful of what's happening in this moment, to attune yourself to sensations in your body so that whenever there's feelings of tightness and constriction, they can serve as red flags that get your attention. Then take a moment to identify what's going on in your mind that's causing these sensations in the body, because those sensations don't show up unless there's a thought that precedes them. So ask yourself, what's the origin of this stuff, this content, this congestion? What's the origin of this obstruction to the flow of life energy, this block to my prosperity in the form of health and wealth and love and well-being? And then acknowledge those thoughts and feelings and let them go. Emily Cady, one of our foundational teachers of unity in Lessons in Truth, said, forgiveness is to give love for whatever you received. Give love for it. Don't allow it the power to feel hate or animosity or anger or any of that. Give love for it. And on a practical level, join us tonight and every Sunday evening at 6:30 for our Prosperity Circle, which includes the 8 steps into Divine Mind Consciousness, in which we have a chance for others to know for us what we may not be able to know for ourselves, and vice versa. So your call to action today is to forgive in order to create space in your mind and heart and make yourself available to the truth that sets you free. And let's begin experiencing this awareness right now, being one together in a sacred time of shared prayer. So I invite you to stretch up and settle in, relaxing the body, clearing the mind, opening the heart. And bring yourself to a feeling tone of all needs met. I am and I have. I am and I have. All needs are met. Feel the truth of your absolute oneness with the field of infinite opportunities and possibilities. Open your receptivity to this abundance by radiating that feeling tone of enlightened prosperity as you hear Michael's words through my voice. Be aware that you are aware. Be aware that you are awareness itself. In this awareness of who and what you are, become aware of narratives and conversations and thought that run through your awareness. See yourself in conversations with people. See yourself in inner conversation with others and with yourself. Begin to notice if there's any narrative of victimhood. They've done it to me. This is not a judgment exercise. It's an awareness exercise. Just being aware. So that as you become aware of these thought forms, these paragraphs of declaration of I don't have, they start to lose their power. As things are moving from unconscious, subconscious to being conscious, you're becoming aware of these patterns. Simultaneously, they're losing their power. You're becoming conscious of them rather than them remaining unconscious and subconscious. Unconscious to you and subconsciously operating nilly-willy because of your not being conscious of them. As you're looking at the narrative or narratives say, I have everything that I need, and right now I need everything that I have. Say, all my needs are met, and no one and no thing can block that. Say, I emerged from the eternal with everything I need. No one and no thing can hinder that. Be with that for a moment. Remember, the greatest ability is availability. You're now making yourself available to the truth of your being, which is abundance and wealth, well-being, harmonizing prosperity, and the dissolution of debt, which is the condensation of unforgiveness. A thought form of, they did it to me. They owe me something, and I don't have something because of what they did. This does not absolve individuals who are operating nefariously or destructively. This does not in any way absolve them or let them off the hook. You're going to live in that space while things are worked out on the human level, that space of I have, I am, all needs met. You're not trying to solve the problem at the level of the problem. Possibility is greater than any problem. You're dissolving the problem by going into the realm of possibility, by claiming, embracing, and having insight into your real nature. This is why it is written, bless them that curse you. Pray for them that despitefully use you. Why? We're all vibration. We're all frequency. If someone is cursing you, stomping on your good name, stealing, whatever the case may be, using you, bless them that curse you. Pray for them that despitefully use you. You're entering into another frequency, and that frequency repels the lower frequency. It can't cohabitate because they're upringing at a different rate of speed. The individuals that are cursing you or doing whatever they're doing are actually speeding up your growth when you pray for them. They go into another vibration. You can't be touched by their lower frequency because you're not living there. You're not home there. Your vibrational address has changed. We're going to find ourselves being more spacious inside. As we move into a real forgiveness process, we begin to understand that one of the things that create kind of an inner storm in our interior climate is self-righteousness. Self-righteousness is a self-indulgence. If I'm right, they're wrong. In this spaciousness, the human acquisitive appetite is not running the show. Who is running your show is the deep feeling tone of I am and I have, which takes us into true forgiveness. The only righteousness we want is the right useness of the sacred law, the law of mind in action, the law that was described by Jesus the Christ that said, it is done unto you as you believe. It is done unto you as you believe. It doesn't compromise itself. The universe is the outpicturing of limitless love, intelligence, another name for God. It doesn't compromise itself. It doesn't contradict itself. It's always unfolding to reveal the infinite nature of pure spirit. We come into harmony with the fundamental harmony of the multidimensional universe. And then our life, what does our life do? Our life bears witness to the truth that makes us free. The truth of our being, which is you have emerged from the eternal. Forgiveness is not some self-righteous, pious exercise. Well, I'm going to be a very high being and I'm going to forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They were ignorant. I'm going to forgive them because that is the right thing to do. I have character and I'm a forgiving person. No, it's not that. All forgiveness is, are you ready? Self-forgiveness. Meaning we are clearing out within ourselves the rancor, the resentment, the animosity in those thought forms that perpetuate themselves and replant themselves over and over and over again, creating a filter that prevents us from seeing properly. We are dissolving the content of resentment of someone owes me something. You are clearing that out so that your whole being can be available to the life essence that wants to pour itself through you so that you can live a dynamic, prosperous, all needs met, rich, affluent life. Everything material comes from the invisible immaterial. You become connected with the source. Then what you need shows up even before you can know that you need something. It just shows up. Forgiveness is very, very important. All forgiveness, self-forgiveness, because you're releasing the thought forms from you, dissolving, disintegrating them. There's specific self-forgiveness where you forgive yourself for any missteps, any mistakes. You don't hold yourself hostage for things that you may have done that you could have done better. Self-forgiveness is dismantling guilt. It is maybe regretting something you did. And regret is different from guilt. And then reorienting your priorities so that you don't do it again. All of this is to allow you to be a clear channel of great possibilities. What happens when you're a clear channel? Wisdom, transforming knowledge, creative intelligence, inspiration, and creativity are unimpeded. They flow through. You have radically new ideas. You see opportunities that you couldn't see before. You see possibilities that you were blind to before because you're clear now. You're not crowded with thought forms of lack and resentment. Now give yourself permission to come into a deep state of relaxation. Feel that you're in a powerful safety zone. That is, you feel very safe and secure, at home in your own being, at home in the chair you're sitting on, the environment you're in. If you've ever felt safety before, feel it now. If you've ever felt security before, feel it now. If you've ever felt a deep sense of peace, feel it now. And into this peace, think about somebody that your mind says, they owe me something. They did something to me. And because of what they did, I'm lacking something. Or they said something about me that hurt my reputation. Or any narrative that says that someone else out there is determining your prosperity and your happiness based on what they did or didn't do. Bring that thought form into that deep sense of peace and safety and security. And just think about the individual. See them in your mind's eye, without eyes, but with awareness. Notice, as a neutral observer, any emotional reactions that may be happening in any part of the body. Just notice without judgment any emotional reactions. Now, become willing to forgive them for what they did or did not do. The first step is just willingness, the willingness to forgive. Feel into the deep sense of willingness. And if you're not willing, become willing to become willing. Just say, I'm willing to let go of animosity and resentment with this individual's. In this feeling, tone of willingness, move into the act of forgiveness and just say to them, I free you. I cut the cords between us and set you free. What you did or didn't do does not determine my destiny. I am free. I forgive you. Say it again. I forgive you and set you free. Therefore, I set myself free and become spacious enough to be light and love and prosperity and joy and abundance, and let them flow through my life. So stage 1 is willingness. Stage 2 is the practice of forgiveness. Stage 3 is authentically wish them well. Wish them well. You're lifting yourself to another vibration. This has nothing to do with them. You want to be of another frequency. To be of that frequency, you're going to pray for them that curse you. You're going to bless them that spitefully use you. You're going to wish them well. Remember, there's a law that you keep what you give away. In giving away this vibration of wishing them well, you keep the residue of that. You get the original, they get the carbon copy. You're wishing yourself well. Feel the spaciousness of your being as you release the toxicity of unforgiveness. Feel the vibration of abundance, harmonizing prosperity. Wealth and wellness reign supreme in your life. Your destiny is implanted in you by the presence that is never in absence. You're now allowing your destiny to unfurl because there's spaciousness within you. You're not crowded with toxicity. You're overflowing with the light and love and beauty and abundance of the presence that is never in absence. Take a deep breath. Suspend the breath at the apex. Feel pure spaciousness in your being. There's no crowdedness with toxicity, resentment, animosity. Release the breath as we now rest in that feeling tone. I am, I have. All needs are met in the silence. As we gently bring our attention back to this time and place, silently say, thank you, divine nature that gives love for whatever is received, for the wisdom to free myself of resentment, animosity, and victimhood that burden, restrict, and imprison me. Thank you for the spaciousness that makes me available to the truth, that raises my consciousness and sets me free. Thank you, divine nature that gives love for whatever is received. Thank you, thank you, thank you, that it is so and so it is, and so I am and I have. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, dear Catherine. So this is the time in the service when you have an opportunity to experience the divine paradox that it is in giving we receive. So as you listen to the offering song, take a moment to either bless the offering you've already sent, write the check you would have written in the sanctuary, or click on the give link that Tanya is posting in the chat box now. And whether you mail a check, give through online banking, or give on our webpage, this is your opportunity to give as source of Unity Santa Fe, a source of your and others' spiritual nourishment. I invite you to join me for a virtual love offering candle lighting ceremony. By just seeing yourself going to the altar in our sanctuary with your prayer slip and your gift, and feeling the joy of giving as you light a virtual candle, remembering you are the light of the world, placing it in a virtual bed of salt, remembering you are the salt of the earth, and placing your gift in a virtual basket on the altar as Catherine sings.
When I give from the source of life within, the font of abundance that flows from the love I am. I am blessed, I am grateful, I am prosperity. So I give as source in the spirit of unity. When I give from the source of life within, the font of abundance that flows from the love I am. I am blessed, I am grateful, I am prosperity. So I give as source in the spirit of unity. Yes, I give as source in the spirit of unity.
And our offering blessing, I invite you to affirm with me, even though you're muted. In a universe overflowing with unlimited abundance, all the needs of Unity Santa Fe and those we serve are bountifully met. From every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected, our abundant good comes to us now. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all I am, all I joyously give. Let me say that again. All I am, all I have, all I joyously give, and all I joyously receive. Feel the joy. Feel the gratitude. Feel the generosity. Allow it to radiate in every cell and atom of your body, your heart, your soul, your mind, radiating out, creating a field of energy of gratefulness and joy and generosity that is like a magnet, attracting more and more to be grateful for, joyful about, and generous with. And thank you, thank you, thank you, source of us all. Amen. So now I'd like to welcome first timers. If you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're back for the second or third time, any of those first, second, or third timers, please type your name in the chat box so that we can welcome you. And if you'd like to be on our email list, email communications@unitysantafe.org, and Tanya will be delighted to put you on our mailing list. And our Unity Santa Fe style prayer for protection. The light of God I am surrounds me. The love of God I am enfolds me. The power of God I am protects me. The presence of God I am watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.